Patrick Pursley, Lee Moorman, Sean Saputra, David Tamira, and Shane Cameron.
If you ask me, 96 seems like a typo, but yeah, absolutely. And it's promises to be a good one today. I'm really excited to see these guys go around this track. This is I got to say, it's got to be one of my favorite tracks in North America here. Great history, great ambiance, and whether you're watching GTP cars go around it, Spec Miatas go around it, there's been 50, 70 years of great racing at this place.
Fantastic. So I was worried for a second, but we are going to have the truncated pace lap, not the full lap, which might have taken quite a while, if we're honest with ourselves. They're all here.
You didn't want to chat for 14 minutes as they rolled around?
No, not really. So they've only got to go through the final corner here before the pace car then pulls into that pit lane entry at the right-hand side of the straight. We'll almost be ready to get going. I think Justin Hall has sent that already as well. So up the hill they go towards the green flag that Barney's got in his hand, and 1 hour of racing at Road America is going to get underway. And it is a long run down this front straight, really long run. And already the cars in behind closing in on him. Alex Albert, John Wilding, right in contact for the lead. Cold ties for everyone. Bit of 3 wide behind as well.
Oh, it's busy out there right now.
Yeah, it sure is. I thought that was going to end in catastrophe for Andrew Cossack, who was the meat in that sandwich. Can't have a meaty sandwich without some cheese, that's for sure. So he worked his way cleanly through that opening couple of sectors, then immediately onto one of the next really long, really high-speed straights. The whole field in a line like you expect to see from these kind of cars at this kind of racetrack. Big movers already. David Dalton Jr. is up into 6th from 10th on the grid. Justin Hall managing to hold on to that lead, but so far really competitive racing like you hope to see from this kind of car. Everyone just needs to, though, keep in mind this is a 1 hour race with a pit stop, not get in over their heads too early.
And as they sweep through 6, 7, and 8, you see all the different lines that you can take with this kind of car around here. Guys getting too wide still in the back of the field, but managing to filter down to one as they try to find their way around the carousel here.
Yeah, for sure. Just a little bit of panels being exchanged, but I don't see any big losers. In fact, everyone, no one spun out. Everyone's still in order, but a couple cars rubbing, as just happens from time to time. And up front, Justin Hall still just managing to hold off. Big braking zone can lead to some problems here as they go through the bend that bypasses the kink. Getting over your head there for sure. Almost bump drafting for the lead though. Albert's got a good run through there as they go down the not straight back straight towards Canada Corner. Following a typical racing line, almost getting pushed along here, the top two. As they work their way into Canada Corner. That's nowhere near enough to break them away from John Wilding, still only half a second back. It's just a couple corners at the final sector of the lap here, and then immediately onto the long straight with that powerful toe again.
Well, and this will be familiar ground for those top two because they were working together in practice, but it's also familiar ground for John Wilding because while those two were trying to give each other a tow, I noticed on a few occasions that John Wilding was sneaking up behind him and trying to get his part of their big draft that they were creating. So I got to imagine that he's feeling comfortable here, though he'd probably like to be a little bit closer.
First lap in the books. And Justin Hall still leads. Tidy first lap. Very important. Joshua Soto moves himself up into third. So off that start, Soto lost his third place to Wilding. But now works his way back through. Definitely one of the drivers in this car that you think could challenge for a win, as he has done in the past in this championship. Your top 8 covered by 3 seconds still with a lap completed. So it's not the Daytona road course, but it's got a very similar characteristic to the racing so far.
Yeah, and you can see that draft forming, but also starting to break away. It looks like we got about 8 cars in this lead pack, maybe 9 if you count the back end of it, and they're definitely going to be trying to stay in line, I think, in this early phase of the race, for the most part anyway. Though if I was one of those guys running, say, 3rd through 5th, I'd probably want to try and find my way between Justin Hall and Alex Albert right now, because they seem really comfortable as they're pushing each other around here.
It's looking like 8 cars for your lead pack at the moment. Then you do find a little bit of separation from Nick Love in 8th to Orlando Harrell, who's in 9th. Harrell has gotten past Kosick on this lap since they crossed the start-finish line as well, and Charles Kowalczyk, Jordan Butler, Josh Lucas, competent drivers in this part of the pack as well. Although, as I say, that Butler gets on the grass, has a big moment, has a huge moment, but manages to not hit anyone or the wall. My goodness, I thought he was going to.
Oh man, and we see the 412 there. That's how that corner can get you. It's really easy to get too deep in there and then just find a little bit of dirt on the exit, and you don't want to give anything up on that back straight, but you gotta, otherwise you're going to end up dropping a lot of positions here.
Yeah, for sure. It's causing a little bit of a cluster around that part on the exit of Canada corner. The driver's too wide. Get a bit of a bump from Shane Cameron, but they're trying to dust himself off, maybe literally, after that grass adventure. Work his way back through here, through the final corner. It's always tempting to have a look down the inside there, but if you get a poor run off that corner, you are a sitting duck up the hill, down the long straight, and on the brakes in towards turn 1. It's Lee Moorleman getting past at least one car. Ducks back into line to try to get that slipstream off Wilding. See Shane Cameron out of line with Saputra slipstreaming off him. That's the very tail of the field, back to 20th here, and everyone is in a fight, which we'd love to see. No one's having a boring race. They're all on their racecraft, looking every direction, trying to keep the car on the road. Mark Kruger had a wild one through turn 1 there, didn't he? So Road America definitely turning it on from the top to the tail of the field. So we keep our eyes in the middle-ish. Jordan Butler in 14th is going to get sandwiched here between Smith and Pursley. They're going to go up the hill to the left-hander underneath the Corvette bridge, and it's too wide as you look at this pack. And finally, Butler's able to maybe break free of them a little bit, leave them battling behind, and show the pace that he had earlier. Goes to show the difference between pace and racecraft, is he definitely had the pace, but the racecraft was not letting him get away from losing time, battling side by side in this group.
And it's a fun way to go through that corner, doing it 3 wide, but it's definitely not the fastest way around there.
No, exactly. So a little bit more off-roading in that group. Leads to contact. Shane Cameron and James Smith, it looks like, came to blows there as they tried to slow for the kink replacement chicane. Big damage for Cameron. I don't know about Smith.
Yeah, it looked like 2 guys found their way off the track on the exit there, and neither one could really find their way back on safely. And by the time all was said and done, full throttle to full brake, a little bit of contact, and a few guys ended up hurt after that one.
Yep, contact from Lee Moorleman to the rear of James Smith turned him around into Shane Cameron, turned him around into the wall, and caused quite a bit of the damage for all of those. Your top three, though, nothing to separate them. Joshua Soto has found his stride and his strength going along with your leaders, your front row of Justin Hall and Alex Albert. And as that happens, he's forming the bridge just to keep the rest of the pack in touch as well. So Wilding, Dalton Jr., Tim Wire not fading out of this at all. In fact, Dalton Jr. has picked up another spot into the 5th place there. He and Kyle Robertson were working together in qualifying. Down into what the circuit wants you to call turn 5. Any sane, reasonable person would probably try to call turn 3.
Yeah, just because the road's not perfectly straight doesn't make it a corner, but no one sent the memo out to Wisconsin.
Down the hill to the next braking zone, your top 3 still super close together. I can see Dalton Jr. in 5th there, just shaping, trying to get around. Didn't do it. It cost him. Now he's kind of got to block out Tim Wire in the Buzz and Bee livery as they work their way through the very, very long and torturous carousel. Decent bit of temperature still in the track, so always a question with this car when we get to that pit stop phase. The drivers are going to have to take on some fuel, but will they change a tyre or 2 or all 4 of them? Do you think that the several loaded right-handers on this circuit definitely make at least 2 tyres a likelihood?
I think so. I mean, this car fills pretty quickly, but it's hard to imagine anyone not being able to get away with at least 2 tires. And if you're going to pick 2, it's got to be the left hand. That being said, with a draft pack that's this big, we're seeing an action in the back of it too. David Dalton, it looks like, and Tim Wire get together there in those green and yellow cars. Tim Wire, worse for wear, but not losing contact, luckily. But anyway, as I was saying, it looks like I got to think that with a draft this big, there are few people who are really winning the fuel game right now.
Interesting thing to keep in mind. Another lap completed. Now 4 complete. Justin Hall has led every single one of them, with Alex Albert right at his bumper. It's changed around who's in 3rd. Soto getting back around John Wilding, and now just opting to go with the lead group. Almost looking like a top 4 breakaway, as the contact between Dalton and Wire cost everyone behind a little bit of time.
Yeah, and I believe this might be Dalton's first ever race with the series, so perhaps no, I guess he's done a couple others, but he's gotten himself onto the thumbnail for the broadcast and decided to make another move to make himself sort of memorable out here today. But that's going to cost their little group here, and they're going to have a hard time reaching back out to the guys in front unless he makes way and makes some room for Wire and Love. And Wire
touch again.
Oh,
wow! Wire pushing Nick Love past, and then the 2 leaning on each other in turn 5. Well, look, once can be an accident. Second time is, unfortunate. The 3rd time is looking a little silly.
Yeah, I think they're both costing themselves more than they're costing the leaders, that's for sure. But we'll see. It does look like Nick Love has pretty good pace right now, and if he can stay out of the clutch as a Dalton, I got to think that he might be able to find his way back up to the front. But it's a pretty big gap right now between him and the guys ahead. Luckily, having the kink here before the back straightaway, I think it does help, because it's a little tougher to run close through there than it is around the actual kink.
Oh, it can be challenging to run close through the kink.
John Wilding's going to make the same mistake as teammate, and I think he's amplified it a bit, because he's dragged the right rear into the corner of the wall there, and I think he's knocked the tow bar out of it. It's driving a little crooked down the straightaway now.
Yeah, it is. Tail out, caught the protruding barrier, and it just might have been in the awkward spot at the awkward angle. The moment he puts the brakes on, it's yet more evident. that the rear of that car is not right. So that might be a pretty damn costly mistake for John Wilding. No sort of paved runoff in that area. You see the drivers, when they overstep the mark by a millimeter, it's tyres in the grass, tyres in the dirt, and a little mistake becomes very costly.
Yeah, that's really painful for him, but
He's not the only one. Well, he's not thinking about pit lane, but in front of him, going for the pit lane, is David Dalton Jr.
Yeah, and Dalton's opting for the early pit stop here. I'm actually surprised, given Dalton was taking the stop, that Wilding didn't join him with the prospect of having a potential drafting partner out there. But Dalton opting to get out of the traffic, and I understand where he's coming from, but I got to think that the more optimal thing to do would be stay with the draft at this point.
Certainly working well for Joshua Soto in third place. That slipstream he's got on the leaders, underneath one of several Sargento banners, they go to the toughest braking zone of the lap, from high speed into a slow corner and downhill, just to even further extend the braking zone and the difficulty. First and second run it a bit wide, and it's a good line from Soto, tidy from him, keeps him in touch with these guys. Is he thinking that long term about the tires, about the fuel, and just hoping to stay with them until whenever the pit stop window may be?
I think that's got to be the plan at this point, and I'm starting to wonder if we'll see Alex Albert and Justin Hall try and do some sort of orchestrated swap here, because the two of them being team cars, might have some interest. But at the same time, they're two of the top three in our championship right now, so they both got their own agendas to think about as well.
Always tough to know exactly what is the line through that carousel. Then very quickly they're on the brakes. Feels very narrow through that part of the circuit, so you've got to be precise to one apex to the next to then be able to open up the throttle out of what's now a slow corner onto the back straight. Again, Soto looked a little more precise to my eye through the tighter parts of the lap, way more precise than Alex Albert as he goes off the circuit at Canada Corner, cedes second place, drops back into third. That might be a little cat amongst the pigeon for the leaders.
Yeah, I remember earlier I was saying that if you're in third, you want to be between those two team cars. Well, there you go. Meanwhile, Tim Wire and Nick Love are seemingly working together better without Dalton in between them, though Ian Giebler's hanging off the back of them now too. But I got to wonder if this little second pack will be able to make their way up to the front as well, especially if the leaders start making some mistakes.
No bump there as Wire looks to the inside for fourth place. Got a bit of overlap as they head down towards turn number one, and this group lost 0.7 of a second on the leaders last lap. The way they're going side by side through turn one, could be more on this lap. The winner from that maybe looks like Ian Giebler, but he isn't going to try to pass down into what the man wants me to call turn three.
Wire gets a little
Grass
wrong
on the apex. Kicks the tail out for Tim Wire. He loses all of his momentum onto a critical straight. Almost looks to try to block out Orlando Harrell, but the speed difference is way too much for that to work.
Yeah, Harrell will take this move up the inside, and I wonder, maybe with Ian Giebler up on Nick Love, maybe they'll start to get that push going together. I really think this pack needs to start working together, otherwise this is going to be a 3-horse race to the end. Big flat slide there too from Tim Wire. I think he's either a little shook up or a little damaged from some of that contact earlier on.
And this style of racing with the packs, with the slipstream, you see this, a good run and then a good slipstream can net you a couple of positions, but one, poor run off one corner, you get passed into the next, so you're offline through the next corner, so it compromises your run onto the next straight, and you go from sort of leading this group to being right at the tail of it pretty quickly in a matter of corners.
And coming through this chicane, it's so tantalizing because you can see the leaders up ahead. They're right there. But of course, you got to go through the chicane before you can get to the straightaway.
That's very deep and philosophical of you. Did Confucius say that first?
Almost certainly.
So just a little more spread in those at the front as Albert's gotten himself back into second. Do you think Soto put up much resistance?
It looks like Soto was trying to make a move on the outside of Hall into what's that, turn 5, I guess is what they want to say. And there was a little bit of drama. I think Alex Albert helped him off the track too. But between those three, Alex Albert was able to get ahead, even though he put a few tires off on the exit of the chicane as well. So we looked away for a moment and things continued to be exciting at the front. But at the end of it, Justin Hall still leads, Alex Albert still second, and Soto in third.
Very interesting indeed. With all of that, the top 3 were slower on this lap than even the group behind, with their little bit of shenanigans through the opening sector of the lap as well. It means there is only 3.5 seconds now between Soto in third and Nick Love in fourth. Still pretty wide open, all things considered. With that turn 5 braking zone, you see your front 2 use the inside tyres to hook over the curb, rotate well and try to carry the momentum. It's a pretty sharp little rise, blind braking and turn in from the position that the driver sits in. That's always a kind of a giveaway. How many laps has someone done here if they're super confident around every other corner, but turning in a little early or a little late at 6 at the Corvette Bridge?
Yeah, I think 6 gives you some of that, and I think 7 coming over the hill, you can really kind of turn that one in early and ride out. There's a little bit more curb and a little bit more camber than you expect on the exit of that one. Always a little bit more speed available. Battle for 4th and 5th is kind of getting a little hot here. At least I think it's a battle. Giebler almost had overlap going into the corner last time, and Tim Wyer's going to throw all 4 tires off. He really hasn't quite figured out that chicane yet today. But Giebler had a little bit of overlap, and I thought he was going to make the move, but he's back in behind Nick Love, and we'll see. Does he want to lead this pack, or does he want to push this pack?
I'll put my foot in it here. Which race did Giebler win this season?
I'll go look that up for you.
Certainly had a decent amount of form this year, especially in the Volkswagen Jetta. He's a level head so far in this one, looking at another top 5.
Looks like he won Laguna Seca. So another track that kind of rewards some consistency. Plenty of sand off the line.
No doubt.
And listening to Love going into the first turn there was definitely a lift, making sure that he stays in contact with Giebler behind, I think, as well as probably saving some fuel. Ahead, Soto went and really kind of lit it up coming out at turn 3 there, and that's given him a bit of a gap up to the leaders ahead, who've of course just figured out how to bump draft perfectly again, as he's making a little mistake.
The extra speed though sent Justin Hall quite wide there and leaps into the air as he attempts to rejoin. Contact further back. Oh dear.
I think that was who was that? Looks
Harold
like
tried to get down the inside of Giebler. braked quite early, and then
Oh,
Giebler down the inside. Someone whose motor blew.
yeah, someone blew a motor by the sounds of things. Tim Wire blew the motor. Got the shifts wrong. It's easy to do. Did it this weekend. But yeah, that's a real bummer for him. He'll have towed that one back to the pits. Quicker tow than what you usually get at the track, but still enough to really mess up a race day.
Would he have been going for fourth and grabbed second?
I'm thinking he was maybe a little early dropping into second or first, maybe.
Yeah. I guess that's tempting if you're like right at the top of fifth to get on the brakes and then very quickly go to fourth, but you've got to be on the brakes quite a bit longer to get the revs down low enough for it. Well, that happened. Drama at the bend kink bend.
Yeah, at the chicane there, Alex Albert kind of followed a little bit of a wide line from Justin Hall and stuck all four tires off of it on the way out, and Soto was able to get quite a good run on him. No move made to overtake. Not quite enough of a run to justify that, but Justin Hall has now got a little bit of a breakaway, and these two will have to focus and see what they can do. Does seem like guys are starting to feel a little bit of a tire fade here, just based on the lap times and based on the struggles we're kind of seeing as people are going by.
Previous lap, though, was pretty well personal bests from our top three, so
maybe it's focus then. That's the issue here.
Yeah, the consistency has fallen off, but I mean, 2 laps ago for Soto was his best. 2 laps ago for Alex Albert was the fastest lap of the race or thereabouts. It's hard to judge, and all of it tossed around by a very strong slipstream that is easily, a second a lap. If you, all other things being equal between you and a driver, if you start a lap a second behind them as you cross the start-finish line, the slipstream's going to bring you up to them by the end of that lap. So a scruffy lap on good tyres doesn't look all that great, whereas just a tidy lap where you pick up a good tow, suddenly you look the hero. So I think it's really, really tough to judge the tyre by the lap times.
I see where you're coming from there. It does seem notable, though, how many mistakes we're seeing from folks out here. Little out of character for our average ChampCar race here, especially at the front end of the field.
They've been pack racing for a while now. We're basically just a lap away from the halfway point of the race here. Almost half an hour of, where am I going to have to break into here if I'm, got the slipstream or not? And do I wait? Do I pass this guy? A lot more consideration, a lot more stress.
Yeah. For the Honeybee fans out there, Wire's back on the track now after taking his fast repair. A little bit quicker to replace the motor in the sim than in the real world.
Yep.
And our pack from 4th to 5th has just tried out the exit of the chicane there again, as it looked like Nick Love managed to put all 4 off that time.
Ian Giebler is up into 4th place when he was behind not long ago.
Yeah, it doesn't get quite the run that Love does, though. Love using all the exit curb that's available there.
It's the art of this place, knowing what runoff you should use and what runoff you shouldn't. A little bit on the exit account of the corner is all good. All the exit on the final corner is all good, but then at turn 5, bottom of the hill, don't quite want to use all of it out there. So Nick Love, what you're going to do, front bumper to rear bumper. Orlando Herald's still zooming up on him. You're almost about to have 3 Miatas and 3 Miata lengths as they break in towards turn number 1, and that's exactly what you're going to have as Love rolled out of the throttle pretty early, and it almost surprised Herald. So they're super close right here. Closed up a little bit in the top 3 as well. And in fact, the same can be said a little deeper in the field as well.
Yeah, there's been pretty consistent battling up and down the field. I've been watching in on this battle between Cossack in seventh, Robertson in eighth, and Josh Lucas in ninth. Cossack, he's moved back a little bit from his qualifying position, but Roberts and Lucas have both managed to move themselves up. And at times, they've been alongside each other. At times, they've been pushing, but as always in the Champ Car series, you can find a few other guys that are right at the pace that you are.
Different lines,
Wow.
different braking zones in towards turn 5, and
That was a sweet line from Cossack that time. That was really fast.
Might have been a little flatter, but I think Robertson got in a little hot, so turned in a little late.
Yeah, the contrast between Cossack getting it right and Robertson getting it a little wrong was pretty significant that time, though, I gotta say. Oh, speaking of getting it a little wrong.
Well, we get the opposite effect just a little bit later in the lap, as Cossack didn't get the line right at the hurry downs, and Kyle Robertson was pretty tidy, and they're sort of right back where they were earlier in this lap. What about the bend here at the far corner? Really has separated, one driver from another. It's a tough braking zone. This car doesn't really want to turn and brake at the same time, and it's a double quick change of direction from a tight left in towards a tight right, where being half a car length away from the apex is pretty slow compared to getting it exactly right.
Some action up at the front. Alex Albert is too wide with Justin Hall there, and now looks like he's backed out, but maybe giving Josh Soto a little option there on the outside. All in all, it looks like the three of them are going to straighten things back out here, but spicy moments going on. And Soto dives for the pits. Ooh, that'll be an interesting one.
That's a pretty aggressive call, isn't it? We've just crossed the halfway point of the race, and he was doing so well in the slipstream of the top two. He backs himself and his own pace and maybe an undercut to separate from those two, go for the pit lane a little early. This is a pretty gutsy call, and I'm dying to know if Josh Soto thinks he's going to take new tyres and get an undercut on those two, or what he thinks this is going to achieve for him. So he goes for the third pit box, because that's his. He qualified third. Just in front of him is Alex Albert and Justin Hall's pit boxes. For Soto, definitely left sides as the fueling happens at the same time. It's a circuit with a bit of time at full throttle, so you'd expect to need to take a little bit of fuel, but I don't think I saw any right sides. He's out and away. My timing of it is 18 seconds.
Notably there, he also took his fast repair. I noticed the bumper pop itself back into place, so you gotta wonder if maybe that was costing him a little bit of pace, and maybe he just wanted to get that wrinkle out of the rear bumper. Either way, I'm checking back in on our battle for 7th to 9th here, and Cossack is too wide with Kyle Robertson going down into turn number 5 here, and he's too wide with the guy behind, Josh Lucas as well.
Is going to bite off some of it too.
Cossack running that metallic blue Mosman car.
We're at 3/4 of the Teletubbies with these guys.
It looks like they're trying at this point.
Good stuff. Lucas is still sat in this position here, and a couple of times he's looked to try to get ahead, but doesn't seem to confidently back himself to throw it down the inside of any of these corners, which is the better thing to do than get in over your head. It's still a long way to go in this race, and pit stops to play out for all of these guys. What might everyone else do in comparison to what we've seen Josh Soto do? 18 seconds of service for just the left sides. I went back and I verified that. So for Soto, he's got to be hoping to undercut Hall and Albert. Pretty critical laps for Soto and those other two.
Oh no. And speaking of, the leaders just got it wrong. Alex Albert missed his braking point and just wiped out the team car ahead. Oh,
at Canada corner,
at the
your
front.
Top two gone. Both of them in the wall. Massive
Both of them
damage.
in the points. The two of them are second and third in the points. And if they were hoping to have a good finish today, I got to imagine that hope's all but erased. Oh, hard break here. Josh Soto going to be sitting pretty, though.
Well, it'll take more than a crate of beer to fix that.
Oh, and the two of them limp in the cars to the pit lane, but luckily they're both able to get them moving pretty quickly. But and the faster pairs will help too. But yikes, that is uncharacteristic. We do not see those kind of mistakes from those guys.
Andrew Kosick follows him into the pit lane. Ian Giebler goes through to being scored as the leader. Nick Love and Orlando Harrell. We know Joshua Soto, probably our net leader at the moment with all of that taking place, but this has easily cost half a minute to Albert and Hall. They find their pit stalls. They're going to find their fast repairs, but the timeout on track, limping it from the gravel at Canada Corner back to the pit lane, is going to be super, super significant.
Josh Soto's already going through turn one. He's on the exit. I mean, yeah, you got it exactly right. He's got 40 seconds on him.
Left sides are order of the day for all of those in the lane. Very similar stop times to Soto. Not that it really matters now, but 17 seconds for Albert, 18 for Hall, and 19 for Kosick. So yeah, Soto has 20 seconds on Alex Albert at the moment.
Some more battling going on here in the money positions. Nick Love and that looks like Ian Giebler are side by side right now, going through 7. 8 that is, and heading into the carousel.
Love threw into the lead of the race, and I put to you, this is probably for 2nd and 3rd place now.
Yeah, I gotta think so. This is wild.
No, John Wilding's back in 12th. No, he's not. He's into 11th because he's gotten past Andrew Kosick.
Yeah, that was a move for him up the inside there. Heading into the hurry downs.
A while ago, and I'm going to guess took fuel only. So we're about to see if those left side tyres for Kosick are going to come in to give him a performance advantage. They're side by side for the lead with Love and Giebler as well. Love's got the inside. Giebler's held his line around the outside and carried a lot of speed to go up the little hill here. Quick flick left, flat out for these cars, I think. They all have a bit of a wiggle, and there is 3 car lengths for the cars being scored in the lead here. Giebler made it work, and you just got to think about your run off that final corner. They're going to stay out and go a little bit longer. Harrell likewise. So Soto is going to still need to wait a while to cycle through into the lead of the race. When he crosses the line in a little bit, it'll be good to keep an eye on what how his lap times are tracking compared to those in front, and also compared to Albert and Hall.
Yeah, this will really, I think, be critical to the race, because Giebler, Love, and Harrell...
They're going to go 3 wide for the lead. Harrell backed out of it. Harrell thought he saw a wedge between Love and Giebler. As those two make a little bit of contact, it costs Giebler. Harrell goes through in a second.
If these guys could sort themselves out, I mean, they'd have a legitimate shot at the lead. But with Josh Soto having no traffic, he's losing time. Or you'd think he's losing time, but he's not. He just ran a 2:46.9, the fastest lap of the race. Yeah, and that's with no draft. No draft.
Yeah, absolutely. Realistically, the battle that they're having here is for 2nd and 3rd, and if they lose too much time, Albert and Hall are right in the range to jump them. The pit in to pit out transit time for almost everyone's stops has been 48 seconds, and from Nick Love to Alex Albert is 47 seconds at the moment. So actually, if you're any of these 3 guys and you think you can lap consistently by yourself, pulling into the pit lane, getting that clear air is a path to a very shiny spot on the podium, because battling each other, they're bringing Albert and Hall right back into it pretty deep into the race now. So I don't imagine anyone's going to be able to go too much longer before they pit. We've only got 6 cars that haven't stopped yet, and it's these 3 plus Kyle Robertson and Joshua Lucas battling 7 seconds behind him, and Sean Saputra also hasn't stopped. Everyone else been through the lane, and most of them in the last 2 or 3 laps as we've been commenting on it.
Harrell
Everyone's
has to
looking
take...
defensive. And again, this is the kind of thing that's going to throw away a potential podium. If they keep lapping in the 249s, well, Soto and others can lap in 246s.
Yeah, and those fresh tires are making a bigger difference than I would have guessed. But certainly that's reflecting some real serious pace from the likes of Soto. 2 cars breaking off here. It looks like Giebler and Love have decided this time by is their chance to pit. Meanwhile, we got Orlando deciding to carry on. I wonder if he thinks that the clear air might be better for him than the draft at this point.
Yeah, Kyle Robertson also carrying on. Josh Lucas also.
And Josh Soto just coming up the hill. He's got a draft here off of Sean Saputra. Running in 8th place, but that'll quickly tick down now into, what is this, 6th place he'll be, and then maybe another couple spots when Saputra, Lucas, and Robertson have to pit. So that'll be coming shortly here.
So
interestingly,
like left sides only, but for Nick Love, is he getting all 4? What's he doing? He's still going to beat Giebler off the lane. Oh, pretty slow from both.
They've both taken
and
a lot of fuel.
Albert. Yeah, and there goes Alex Albert. There goes Justin Hall.
So the 2 of them have managed to overtake, though I think Justin Hall is going to be caught up with Nick Love here on the exit. Hall had to really kind of toss it in around the outside in order to make that move stick. And hearing those Miatas hum and then bang off the rev limiter as they're heading down into 3 there. Soto had to make a pretty solid overtake on Sean Saputra, to be honest there. Got some help from Saputra, it looks like. As I watch guys going through the hurry downs here, on the ride home from the racetrack this weekend, I was listening to that Dinner with Race Cars podcast and just thinking about the D-Spec Racer program. They said they could go flat from here, turn 8, all the way down to Canada Corner, through the kink and everything. I just can't quite fathom something like that. That's got to be amazingly fast, as it already feels fast in one of these.
Yeah, see, we know now Scott Tucker was breaking the laws of the United States. We didn't know he was also breaking the laws of physics.
Yeah, that's pretty wild stuff there. Anyway, checking back in with the wild action on track, we got Justin Hall holding off Nick Love here as they come into one of the better passing zones on the track here into the chicane. We'll see. Is there a move to be made? No, not quite. Giebler does suck up a little bit, though. Timing the move back across the track here in the chicane really seems to be the key. Because you're trying to get as far left as you can, but if you wait too long on the turn in to the right, then you just blast off the left-hand side. And Nick Love gets a good little draft there. And then Justin Hall cuts him off. No fear.
So that looks like how it'll go into Canada Corner. Up front, Orlando Herald's gone for one more lap, while Kyle Robertson and Joshua Lucas have pulled into the lane. So I hope for Orlando Herald's sake, he's got enough fuel to go as far as he's trying to do, because Love and Giebler have thrown away a podium. If Orlando Herald does it too, when you see me next, I'm going to have no hair from having pulled it all out.
I will be flabbergasted if Alex Albert and Justin Hall manage to hold on to a podium, and Nick Love's going to do his best to make sure they don't. He's got a little side draft here going up the inside of Justin Hall down the front straightaway, looking ahead. Alex Albert, though, choosing the team car, giving that draft to Justin Hall. It is almost enough, but Nick Love still has the position as they head into the first turn.
Yeah,
Oh,
and another one of those corners around here, turn one there, you get your inside tires on the curb, and it's almost a little bit cambered, hooks you in, pulls you through turn number one well. Same thing happens at the bottom of the hill there at three. There's a couple of the corners there where the inside's a little quicker than you'd expect because you can just kind of get your inside tires in to hook you around. So good move from Nick Love, who ought to have slightly better tires in this one.
confirmed that Lucas and Robertson have come back out, and it looks like they're running in sixth and seventh, I think, seventh and eighth, according to the timing screens. Meanwhile, the things are getting spicy up here at the front of the field. Ian
Loves
Giebler
having a
went,
look down the inside of Alex Albert as well at the top of the hill, but that takes a lot of guts. And Albert covered him off, but ran in a little bit deep and dug up a little bit of the grass too. So to the hurry downs. Pressure is on from Love.
we got to get Giebler and Love to do a fundraiser and get themselves some VR or triple monitors or something, because there's been a few opportunities they've had here where discretion and I think a lack of peripheral vision has led to them giving plenty of room on the exit, when if they could have pushed a little bit tighter to the guy outside, they really could have maybe made the move.
Dying to see now what race leader Orlando Herald does. He's out the final corner now. No hint of fuel starvation, but a hint of heading towards pit entry. If this is a good stop, he can still come out in second. Oh, he's braked so early for the pit entry. You got to practice that, son. He's thrown away easily 2 or 3 seconds there. You can't see where the cones are till you're over the crest. You got to practice it. You got to know it. When push comes to shove and it's crunch time in a race like this, that's where a podium is going begging.
It'll be interesting to see. Alex Albert's coming up the hill now, heading into the final turn, and Harrell has just come to a stop.
Do you see any jacks? I see no jacks.
I'm not seeing any. This could be fuel only, which might not be a bad call at this point. He's gone so late in the race.
Yeah. Joshua Soto's already gone through back into the race lead. He's got a comfortable margin. Alex Albert and Nick Love.
Harrell's going heavy on the fuel, though, here. 24 seconds, 25, 26, 27. Oh, man, he's really taking the fuel. Someone's done some bad math there, because Harrell's gone and taken 36
He's gone
seconds
and
of
taken
fuel.
enough fuel to take 4 tires and not taken tires, and Orlando Herald is going to rejoin this race in 10th place, about to drop back into 11th, unfortunately.
Let's get back, though, on Alex Albert, Nick Love. They're 2x2 going down the Moraine sweep here underneath the Sargento Cheese Bridge. And if this keeps up, it's going to be really spicy down here into turn number 5. 3 wide. Justin Hall's taking the inside line, and let's hope that Nick Love knows on the outside. Alex Albert is going to back out. Oh, he holds it. Oh, they're 3 wide. Giebler jumped in too.
Alex Albert briefly, the cheese in the sandwich. Good run up the hill here from Nick Love. He's just going to get clear. Now that all the pit stops have shaken out, this is 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th place. This is 2/3 of your steps on the podium playing out in the final minutes from Road America.
Boy. Well, the Alex Albert and Justin Hall team cars have somehow managed to have the quick reaction time to get back to the pit lane, to keep themselves in this race. And with 12 minutes to go, I still can't believe that they're even in this. Josh Soto just cruising to a victory, though, here. Right? He can run patient. He's just got to stay focused.
I really questioned his pit stop decision and the timing of it, because he looked in a really, really comfy place, and he jumped from the warmth of 3rd place in the slipstream to cutting out in the world all on his own with an early pit stop. But then the cards have just fallen in his direction so far.
Canada corner is just so dirty right now, too, from all the people, both on the apex and on the exit. So, guys are looking for some lap time there every single lap. But, it's risky business at this point in the race.
Variety of different lines on show, half of them with tyres in the grass, and Nick Love senses the danger, and he's going to lead the Snake to the pit wall side. Giebler's got a good run here. He's made good progress off the final corner. Love leads the Snake back to the traditional racing line.
Surprised to see a Weef, less surprised to see Ian Giebler pushing. That seems to be his wheelhouse.
I think Giebler struggled to put it in gear on the exit of turn 1. It's cost him a little bit.
Easy thing to do. One of the weakest points of the sim, I'd say, is the gearbox simulation. Hard to get it really right with no feedback coming from the joystick or from the shifter sticks that you get.
You know, they could make a H pattern shifter that's got force feedback in it, and no one would buy it, because that when you try to pull a gear that it doesn't want to go into. Nick Love in second place there, runs super wide, but it's not a perfect run, but a little tidier from those behind him.
Mm-hmm. I think we got maybe 4 laps to go here, though, so every single one of these corners is critical.
Yeah, I think it'll be 4 at the line from where Josh Soto is and the pace that he's averaging. He's got the fastest lap of the race. It's not close. And the way that they're battling and driving and tripping over each other here, he's the fastest car on track at the moment.
It does.
By a bit.
It does also beg the question a little bit. Like, Justin Hall and Alex Albert both had 17, 18-second pit stops. Meanwhile, Giebler and Love had 24-second pit stops. So is this a case where Hall and Albert have budgeted for one less lap, potentially, than the other two guys did? Because if that's the case, they're going to be really, really tight on fuel here at the end, because they've been battling so hard for, I mean, God, it feels like the whole race.
Who knows? That's one we're going to have to wait and see on. But Hall and Albert had the same stop time as Soto and pretty much the same as Andrew Kosick. It didn't, not a massive outlier.
Soto was drafting off them the whole time. I mean, Alex is a little bit shorter. Alex goes 4 tires off on the apex there. Ooh, and Giebler gets it pretty wrong too. I think he kind of followed Alex.
Is Albert trying to follow the slipstream, or has he got a slow down there? Either way, both of them have made a dog's breakfast of that one, and I think Giebler is gonna slip on through if he can just stay with the slipstream of Justin Hall.
Critically, I think this means Hall and Love are maybe breaking away here. We'll see how it looks through the first half of this lap.
Well, Giebler's looked good this race when he's had just a little bit of clean air in front of them, so I think he can probably, in probabilities, close this up. I mean, there's still 5 seconds there, but Kyle Robertson in 6th has been catching him a second and a half a lap.
You just spoke too soon, though. As soon as you said that, Kyle Robertson was going into 2, and I don't know exactly what he did wrong. It looked almost like he pulled the e-brake or something, but his car just locked up and spun completely sideways on the exit of 3. I can't explain that one. That was bizarre. You see, he goes into the corner, and just all of a sudden, the car starts slowing aggressively. Rear end steps out. I think he must have got the e-brake or the wheel disconnected temporarily. That's about the only thing I can imagine.
It's like he was trying to clutch in down towards the braking zone, and then as he's
stepped on the brake rather than the clutch.
No, but then as he's like let it out, it's hopped the rear wheels a little.
Yeah. Okay. Either way, that's definitely taken him out of that battle. It has kind of brought him back into what I would call the only other major battle that we've got left on track here, though, which is this battle for 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th. featuring Charles Kowalczyk, Dalton Jr., and Harrell after his 36-second pit stop here. So this and the battle for second through fifth are kind of the two that are really still going at this point in the race. And this one's definitely closer right now, as it looks like Kowalczyk and the other Love Racing themed car is going to have the run here on Kyle Robertson up the inside, or outside by the time they get to Canada Corner.
Yeah, and Josh Lucas just up the road from them as well, but Kowalczyk doesn't see a way forward there.
Yeah, he decides to, take the safer line and gets a better run. Oh, but tickles the grass on the exit there. And Dalton, who we know is not afraid to make a move, he looks like he had a little run there, though he had to check up a bit coming through 13. As this one's kind of calmed down a little bit, we can report that one lap out from that mistake from Ian Giebler and Alex Albert, there is a second, nearly 2 seconds between Nick Love, Justin Hall, and that group of two and Ian Giebler. So that gap's rapidly shrinking. But Alex Albert's kind of getting hung out to dry here. I don't know if he's got enough left in the tank to get out of fifth place.
Kyle Robertson's been mugged through turn one. Oh, and there's some contact in front of him.
Oh boy.
Orlando Harrell gets absolutely hip-checked by Kowalczyk.
I think Dalton was up the inside, and then Kowalczyk kind of got churned, and as he was catching it, ended up taking out Harrell there. Either way, that's kind of finished up that battle pack.
Yeah, we'll take a look at it again.
A bit of awkward stuff here. So Dalton's kind of diving the inside. Nick goes to take the line and kind of flat slides it, and then by the time he gets things going again, it's too late, and he's gone and retired the car out by the Marshall station there.
And all this time I've been watching some onboard from Kyle Robertson here, and he is doing something weird with the clutch into some of the braking zones, and I think that was the source of the rears locking up earlier, is he's trying to clutch coast the car, and in my professionally unprofessional, slightly professional opinion, doesn't look like he's practiced or comfortable with it. He's letting the clutch back in too late in the braking zone.
Wonder if it's a fuel saving move or something. You know that iRacing kind of models the fuel consumption a little bit oddly in some of the vehicles. Clutching in can really save you a lot of fuel. Either way, things have tightened back up in the front. Alex Albert's still out of the picture, but we've got a three-way battle for second place now. Nick Love holding off Justin Hall, and Ian Giebler right behind. He's shown some real serious pace here towards the end of this stint. They're coming to the line. There'll be 2 to go this time by. And Ian Giebler, he might be running fourth, but he's showing the most pace out of the 3 of them over the last 2 laps.
Clutching in doesn't save you fuel. It lets you go faster with the same amount of fuel because it doesn't engine brake between when you let off the throttle and when you enter the braking zone. It's the same as a real car on a real race track. Many misconceptions around these things. Stop perpetuating them, Devin.
My bad.
Yeah, it is on for these podium spots here. It doesn't look like, with 2 laps to go, they're going to be able to catch Josh Soto in the slightest. 27 seconds is the lead that he's got. Then from 27 seconds from first to second, you're only going to find yourself half a second from Nick Love, or is it about to be Justin Hall? Ian Giebler also shaping up for a podium here. So look down the inside, early on the brakes from Hall, and a little wobble from Love around the outside. Giebler gets a good run, and Nick Love might get mugged up the hill here.
Ooh. Well, he got contact from both of the guys behind, but they all managed to keep it pointing the right way.
So Hall gets that second place. Pretty compromised line at the quick right-hander for Nick Love. Want to carry as much speed as he can through there, and he will stay in third. Giebler in fourth.
And Giebler showing a lot of patience. I'm kind of surprised not to see him a little more elbows out, forcing his way up here at this point, because he, you know, with the pace he's shown over the last few laps, he's really seeming to get something. And you know what? The more I think about it, I got to think that Alex Albert, the reason he's so far off the pace at this point is that second less of fuel that he took in the pit lane, because he is doing some really big lifts in pretty much every corner that they got around here.
His last lap, way off the pace at 2:51.
If he does another one like that, he'll be bringing Andrew Kosick into the picture for sixth.
Yeah, to start the final lap, Joshua Soto, there's still 35 seconds on the clock as the white flag waves. I don't know how you could have ever calculated this race as one lap shorter than it is. It would have needed them to have been a second and a half slower than what they've been. So, looking good for Josh Soto. Plenty of sun on this afternoon for him. But who's going to be behind him? In what order? Justin Hall looks like he's going to start the final lap in second place.
Now, will Giebler get brave into turn one this time? He's got a little bit of a run on Nick Love here, getting that draft. Loves playing the defensive game. Giebler just lifts out.
Well, this has got every potential to be super interesting between these three. Second, third, and fourth. First half of the lap is punctuated by these very long straights down towards turn number one, and then the long straight they find themselves on now underneath the cheese bridge to the big braking zone at turn 5. The pack compress the longer the straight goes on, and the slipstream brings second in line further up.
I'm seeing contact for in the field. That's 8th and 9th place between Dalton and Robertson that just put themselves off at turn number 3. They carry on, though. Dalton takes the position, albeit unconventionally. Anyways, back to Justin Hall and Nick Love.
Wow, interesting between 7th and 8th, but Nick Love had a little bit of look there. Justin Hall wants him to know he's there. They're running out of opportunity to pass in this lap, though. You've got the bend, which we haven't seen anyone really try to pull off a sensible move there. And then it's Canada corner, and then it's the drag race up the hill.
Oh, Nick Love's. Oh, okay, managed to hold it here. Really surprising that we haven't seen more overtaking going on here, to be honest. You know, there's a lot of overtaking that happens here in the ChampCar series. In the real world.
I think for these cars, you super set yourself up to then get passed back because of the run out of a very slow corner onto a long straight. You leave yourself compromised and vulnerable. Joshua Soto, though, has just the final corner to go to try to take a win. So calm, so measured, so patient in the first half of the race, in the slipstream of what was the leaders, Justin Hall and Alex Albert. Those two collided with each other. The early pit stop from Josh Soto kept him away from the carnage, and he takes the race win at Road America from 3rd place on the grid.
Last top 3, or sorry, 2nd through 4th coming through the final corner, but it doesn't look like anyone's going to be able to get the move done as they come to the line, barring any sputters. It's Justin Hall, Nick Love, and Ian Giebler, just like they started the final lap.
Center of the road to the pit wall goes
Draft.
Justin Hall. The draft's on, but the start-finish line comes up just a little too quick, so the podium completed by Hall and Love. Giebler with 4th.
Dalton and Robertson are still running 8th and 9th. As they come through the final corner, it doesn't look like there's going to be an opportunity for an overtake here either. Could be a chance for a run, though.
Lucas in yellow has a good run. Oh, they are going to have overlap at the line. Surely the line comes up in time to save him. Yeah. Dalton Jr. just holds on from Joshua Lucas. Alex
Oh,
Albert managed to hold on from Andrew Kosick up ahead. So
Robertson's run out of fuel in ninth, and he gets beat to the line by Patrick Pursley. Correction, Robertson was in 10th. Pursley took 10th away from him.
drama to the checkered flag.
That probably explains the amount of fuel that he had there. Probably explains why he was being quite so desperate with the clutch pedal there, trying to save fuel. Wow.
I got to write out my thesis on that, share my thoughts and techniques with the world. But certainly a very exciting race at Road America.
Oof. Yeah. I mean, that 60 minutes felt like 40, felt like 20 by the time it was all said and done, because it just happened so there was action from start to finish. we don't always get races like that. That was really impressive performances from all the drivers today, and really, I could not have predicted how it would go, but great performance there from Josh Soto, and a podium finish from Justin Hall, despite getting wiped out by the teammate car just before the pit stops.
Mentioned maybe on repeat, broken record, big lap around Road America, and it took a while for our last car on the lead lap to take the checkered flag. It was Charles Kowalczyk 2.5 minutes later, after 2 trips through the pit lane were necessary for him. Let's look at those results then. Joshua Soto with the win from Justin Hall, Nicholas Love, Ian Giebler. Great battle at the end there. Alex Albert dropping back but managing to stay ahead of Andrew Kosick, and then Dalton Jr. and Joshua Lucas overlap at the checkered flag. Joshua Lucas maybe just a couple inches away from being able to steal that one away between the final corner and the final flag. And you got Tim Wire and Patrick Pursley completing your top 10. Pursley started 17th, so he's the biggest mover of the race and inside of the top 10. Kyle Robertson, his fuel tank and the the conservation necessary hurting him a bit towards the end there. 11th from Kruger, Herrell, Kowalczyk, Saputra, and James Smith. You are going to have John Wilding and Jordan Butler as classified finishes, unclassified retirements for Lee Mullerman and Shane Cameron.
Yeah, gotta be classified if you want to get your name in the draw for that $1,500 prize going to the luckiest driver who races with us and completes 50% of 12 of 16 rounds of the series.
Well, let's see if we can have a word with a couple of our Road America podium, because they'll definitely have some stories to tell after that one. Mr. Love Racing, congratulations on that one. Very, very interesting race with these cars at Road America.
Yeah, it was a fun one. It was definitely in the Miatas with a lot of drafting, a lot of straights, makes for interesting races.
Yeah, it certainly did. And you had your hands full in that final stint there. Your thoughts on the strategy? Because we certainly saw some variation.
Well, that we struggled in terms of our team pretty much all forgot to start our crew chiefs. So no one really knew how much fuel. Ended up taking probably 4 laps too much fuel. And that kind of put me into the battle with Alex and Justin after they crashed. So not ideal there, but I took 4 tires, felt pretty quick, but just couldn't hold it off on those last couple laps.
Wow, I've drawn a complete blank. Any questions for him, Devin?
It looked like the battling was really tight. Any drivers that need a knuckle sandwich after that one?
No, I think everyone around me raced pretty good. I had a good battling with Ian and Justin. I think we all bumped a couple times, but there was no ill will there.
Well, props to you for a good one. Anyone you need shout out today?
Just got some family watching, and Love Racing's headed to Harris Hill tomorrow, so hopefully we have a good race there.
Good luck to you, man.
All right, thanks, guys.
In second place on the grid today, I've managed to catch up with Justin Hall. And Justin, after a little bit of I'd say an exciting first end to the first stint, you managed to pull it back together and finish in second place.
Yeah, unfortunate what happened there. Alex and I were working together, and then right before we pit, I guess he missed his braking point and Canada corner, and there went the win. But overall, I'm happy with second place. I thought for sure Soto would have had to pit for more fuel. I'm kind of surprised he finished that far ahead.
Yeah, it looked like he took about the same amount as you guys. He just managed to do it without a trip to the beach in the middle.
Fair enough. That's what it takes, right?
Yeah. And then were you surprised at all after you came out of the pits there to see that you were still kind of in contention for the podium?
Yeah, for sure. I honestly had no idea how long I was spinning my tires in the beach there, like you said. So to come out in second, was pretty happy with that. Talking with Nick a little bit, he took 4 tires, I took 2. I don't know if any took extra fuel, so I guess that's the difference. I was probably on fumes. I think I had like 0.1 gallon at the finish line. So yeah.
Nailed it.
Exactly.
Well, great racing out there, and an impressive comeback drive, I gotta say. I was flabbergasted the whole time just to see you guys back in the running for it. But well done out there. Anyone you need to thank for today?
Oh, always thank the wife for giving me the time to do that, or supporting me in doing this, and you guys for putting on a show. And yeah, it was a good one.
Well, thanks to you for putting on a show today. It was great battling the whole way through, and I'm looking forward to the next round already.
Same here. Thanks, guys.
Well, I've tried to get our race winner, Joshua Soto. I do believe we've spoken with him before on this broadcast, but he does not seem to be around, which is unfortunate because I think he drove a very, very clinical and tidy race there, patient for the first half. Said the cards fell in his direction, Devon.
Yeah, impressive driving from him, and to finish first you must finish, and that's kind of how it goes some days, and that's what we saw today from Josh there.
So with 13 of 16 rounds complete, it is never, ever too late to join us. If you want to get on iRacing, or you're on iRacing and you'd like to get racing with us, forum.champcar.org. iRacing section is right at the top. All the information on how you can race with us, tips from other members, suggestions of gear or equipment if it's something you're looking to get into. So head over there to forum.champcar.org if you want to race with us. Next time out is Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Next week, in fact, it is the practice round, and then October 5th for the championship race, the Pontiac Solstice. To join us if you can. If not, we will be broadcasting here once again from HJBC, as we have every round and will continue to do through the end. 2 more rounds after that with VIR North in the Volkswagen Jetta, and a very exciting 2-hour finale at Sebring in the Ford Mustang. David Haynes, Evan Peters, Michael Derby in the production. Now, congratulations go to the round 13 race winner, Joshua Soto.